back. We're gonna go get a drink. Not yet, boys. Not yet. Let's go. Okay guys, so the purpose of this video is to address that advice that people normally get when starting out with video creation, and that's to just grab the camera and record. If you're anything like me, that's just going to bother you because it's not specific and it actually just leads to more questions. And I think that's just skipping over to stage 2 of the whole video process. So stages 1 through 3 being pre-production, filming, and post-production. If you skip just the filming, you're gonna miss a lot of stuff that's gonna help you during that stage. So I wanna focus on pre-production and planning, which is what helped me overcome that fear of and confusion of video creating in the first place. So we're gonna go ahead and focus on pre-production, and I'm gonna flesh it out a little bit coming up, so stay tuned. Okay, so I'm gonna have some notes because this was a pretty long one. Now, pre-production is exactly what it sounds like. And as I mentioned before, it's just the part that happens before you make the actual video. Now, this is where you have to be clear on the purpose of the video because this is what's gonna guide you through the whole process. So let's break that down into further categories. Before we get into planning, let me knock out inventory. So for inventory, I want you to kind of keep these two things in mind. That's gonna be gear and then location. For the gear, the main thing I want you to understand is what it can and can't do, because that's going to drive your decisions moving forward. And then that'll kind of limit your locations and you kind of get the picture. Now for the planning, I base it on a who, what, when, where, why. But it'll be who, what, why, when, and where. This will make sense here in a minute. So planning, again, you got the 5 W's. And I want you to divide them into 2 categories. The planning, or the purpose of the video, and then the how the video is going to be made. So for that first chunk, it's going to be, who is this video for, right? What are you going to talk about? AKA, is it going to be useful? And why should they care? And that's all the purpose is, right? You want to define this portion of the video because if this isn't specific and this isn't defined, you're not going to be able to complete the steps moving forward. Now, on the how, so how are you going to deliver this message? That's kind of when, right? So it's going to be out nighttime, daytime, and then where, indoor and outdoor. So this is pretty literal on this section. So this is, again, focus on the method of creating the video. So how are you going to deliver the message? And then let's kind of go in deeper into the framework, right? So for this instance, it'll be purpose of the video. Who is this for? So this is for anybody creating a video that hasn't done it before. What am I going to talk about? Video creation, specifically the pre-production stage. And will it be useful? Ideally, yes. It should save people hours of wasted effort when they pay attention to the wrong aspects of video creation. Why should they care? Well, that kind of goes back to the save time and actually have a actionable piece of advice or a sequence of instructions that'll get them to finish their project. And then the how will I deliver them the message. So this one's going to be in a vlog tutorial style format as you see now. When, daytime. Where, we're going to be using a combination of indoor and outdoor for mine. We'll kind of see. I'm trying to keep it flexible just because of the nature of where I'm at and the unpredictability of doing stuff in public. So, okay, we got the purpose, we got the method. Now, since we have that purpose, so now I understand, right? This video is not going to be pointless, because when I think it's pointless, let's say I'm out here, before I finished all this, or I started recording, my my SSD didn't want to register on the phone. So now I was sitting here for a good 5-10 minutes trying to get my microphone to sync up, because it went from syncing up just fine to not syncing up. And then the SSD for the prologue footage, you'll get that later, wasn't wanting to sync to my iPhone. So I mean, I could have just said, okay, f this, I'm done. But because I had that purpose defined, right? I want to be able to help somebody else out that's making videos. I stuck through and I figured it out. I was going back and forth. I was getting pretty worried that it wasn't going to work out. I was going to have to go back to the apartment. But that's why that purpose was so important, because it gave me the reason to stay here, troubleshoot, and figure that out. And that's why you need that purpose and that planning, because say you don't do that. I'm just going to record a vlog. At the first sign of an inconvenience, you're going to stop recording. You're like, what the f? There's no point in this. I'm just going to dip out. And that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, get that purpose, get all those things defined so you understand how or why you're doing what you're doing and why you're going through the process, right? Okay. And with all that being said, we're going to the next portion.
Look, never been the type to walk around with broken promises. I'm always on some honest shit. I took my time to honor this. Oftentimes I crack a smile while hide behind my confidence. Them same lips you be kissing, yeah, this loving ain't anonymous. This is pure enjoyment. I'm sitting back and I'm pondering. Thank God for you will always take what you offering. Never too much, never giving me less. On the days that you ain't got it, you always give it your best. Lady, you are mine. I say that shit with my chest. Reason that I love you, you always easing the stress. You my backbone, and that's the reason I flex. The same one that helped me decompress. If I'm saying, I'ma slide, cause nobody do it like you. You be taking your time. Just talk to me, baby. Tell me all the thoughts on your mind. Ain't shy, same lies, same lies. Keep the lights on in the daylight.
Okay. I wish you guys would have seen the trouble I had to get here, but I'll cover that probably. I'll clip it in. So now that the purpose is set, now we need to really get specific with our project. So this is where you flesh out the portions of your purpose. Since you know the problem you're solving and who you're making it for, this is where you're going to have to build your script. So what are we going to say? And this is where I suggest the following. Clear objective, which leads into the problem you're trying to solve. And then you, obviously speak about the problem and how to solve it. This is your video. I didn't spend as much time on this as I should have on last time, and it showed, at least for me personally. Now, remember, clear, concise, and articulate points. Again, if it's not clear, this is where you're going to build your script. And remember, you want to cover who this is for, or remember who this is for, what you're going to be solving, and why they should care. Now comes the last portion of the planning, right, which is that how. And this is where I think you can get most creative outbursts, which means things can get out of hand, which for me personally in this video, it has. And it's led to kind of taking longer than it should. But again, this is why the planning is so important, because you can kind of just start tweaking the plan as you go along and kind of reel it in when it needs to be. So now that we know why the video exists, we understand that what we're going to say. Now we need to understand how we're going to deliver the message or this package to the consumer. Here is where you need to remember your equipment and consider what it can and can't do, because I didn't do that on what would have been my first vlog. I wasn't considering what my microphone was able to pick up or not pick up, and this is what it ended up looking like. Once I started blocking stuff out on my phone and setting limits, I realized there's things that we spend on time on purpose that takes up way more time than you think. So with that, understand that those limitations just kind of make it easier for you, because it gives you a nice box to work in, or a lane, and you're not having to overthink the planning, right? Because you already know, okay, I can't do all that, let me just focus on this, and you keep improving it, and at a certain point you can get new equipment and then go from there. So for me personally, I'm recording with an iPhone 15 with this this mic mini, the DJI mic mini, and then I have to have a little SSD or hard drive or whatever hooked up to the phone. So it's like it's a nice setup. It's kind of small, but today I've realized how finicky it could be sometimes, where sometimes the memory won't read, so I can't shoot in Prolog or ProRes, and then sometimes the microphone won't sync up, but you end up troubleshooting and figuring it out. So back to the video. So since I picked a vlog style tutorial where I kind of bring you along with me and show you what I do, I have to understand how I'm gonna do it, and I have to be very specific. So this is where you bring out your storyboard and your shot list, and these are gonna be a game changer, because even though it's a little bit of planning up front, a little bit of work, you're going to be glad you did, because once you're out here with so much people and so much moving around and things changing, you're gonna be relieved that you have a storyboard and a shot list to kind of keep you keep guiding you, right? So the storyboard is going to be a representation of how your video will unfold shot by shot. Think of it like almost like a comic book, but it's just these squares or these rectangles, and you're going to design or visualize what your shots are going to look like ideally in a chronological order. And then your shot list is just a breakdown of each shot you intend to record on filming, and then in the order in which you plan to shoot them. It's a little bit more simplified. I just, I'm literally writing mine out, and I'll show you here what that looks like. For this video, I wanted to follow this 1-1-2 technique for gathering my shots. I wanted to keep it simple, so that way I had like a guideline to fall back on. Obviously you can stay flexible, but just it's nice to have a fallback. So my fallback was going to be one wide shot to establish where I'm at, the medium shot to show the character, which in this case is me, and then two close-ups to get on a scene or the character, which is me. This step is one of the most important in terms of the shot list and the storyboard, because it makes sure this goes as smoothly as it can. Because whenever, like I said, you start panicking, you can just go back. Okay, what do I have to record? Oh yeah, it's the white shot of the river. You grab it, or the medium shot of my sneakers, whatever. And you always have a guide whenever you kind of go off into your own little world and you get distracted. One other thing for the storyboard, which goes back to that location thing I talked about in the very beginning, I like to open Google Maps to kind of give me an idea of where I'm going to go film. And then I'll even go on the Street View and kind of check, this could be a shot, and I'll screenshot it and I'll mimic it. And that way, even when I get down here, I already know. Sometimes obviously it helps to go and like actually scout the spot location wise, like actually go in physically. But if you can't do that for whatever reason, and maybe it's too late at night and you don't want to go out, you can use Google Maps as a great help. And just to repeat myself again, these resources or these two items are going to basically be what drive you to finish the project, because you have instructions that you set out yourself to follow. They might look crazy, but they will 100% let you get this done a lot quicker. Now, it's getting a little late. This took a lot longer than I thought, so I'm going to close this up at a coffee shop. So let's go for that. Okay guys, so now we're here at the coffee shop. Let's go over this and kind of wrap this up. Pre-production is going to be split into 3 phases. Your inventory section, where I told you kind of checking the capabilities of your gear and your locations. Then you're going to be defining the purpose of your video, so your video script, why you're making this video. And then you're going to define the method of how you're going to make the video. This is where you get into the real specifics of how you're doing everything and the methodologies behind it. This is where you make your shot list and your storyboard. As long as you have all these things, the overall process should be going pretty smoothly, and you shouldn't have any problems at any stage because you did all the work up front. So when you run into problems, you have a way to fix them, and you always know what path to stay on. I think we can end it here with that. Anything else, I'll cover at a later time. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you in the next one.